Good morning, everybody. And here are some couple of questions that we're going to ask this morning in our quick live stream. And the first question, of course, is going to be, is Sam Howell finally the franchise quarterback? Well, welcome back to another video live stream. Good morning. It is Thursday morning here. We are almost getting toward the end of the week. Yay. And I'm not trying to wish my life away or yours, but I say yay because that means that we're getting closer to football. There's football tonight, I assume. I don't know who's playing tonight, to be honest with you, but there is football tonight. That being said, I like to keep up with, of course, social media and what other folks are, chatting about as far as the Washington Commanders. And of course, every time that the Commanders get on a losing streak, of course, it's always going to be, we need to fire people. And I kind of get on that bandwagon as well, right? We need to fire people. We need to bench these players. This player's a bust. Let's trade this player. Let's go out and get this other guy. And then all of a sudden, when you have a win, it's completely different. It's like vindication. It's all fixed. Well, it's not all fixed, but suddenly we start talking about these people in a much better light. One particular player, though, that no matter what has been under scrutiny, and it always is, because it's the quarterback position. Head coach and quarterback, they're tied at the hip. And those two positions are always going to be scrutinized to the very last little detail. Maybe rightfully so, because honestly, they're two of the most important positions on this team. And so Sam Howell, he has been scrutinized, to no end, right? But he has answered the bell. Right away, I felt, well, even going back to that Dallas game last year, his very first game starting, I was like, man, he showed a lot of veteran savvy in that game. He made some rookie mistakes, and that's what you're going to get with a rookie. But he made some good veteran moves, some good veteran passes, and he won the football game. He led his team to victory. And, shoot, right now he's 5-5 as a starter. And he's played really well. Now, in coming into the season, the first few games, he took a lot of sacks. A lot of that was on him, and then a lot of that was on the offensive line. And I don't know why it took so long to make the adjustments, but when the coaching staff finally decided to make the adjustments, personnel up front, and then making the adjustments with play calling and getting Sam Howell to get the ball out of his hands much faster, suddenly you go from seeing Sam Howell getting sacked 4 to 5 times a game to barely getting touched, maybe getting 1 sack. And it's a remarkable turnaround. And then because of that, you're seeing Sam Howell putting up huge numbers. And you're seeing him almost beating teams like the Eagles, which we should have probably swept the Eagles, honestly. And, of course, beating a New England Patriots team that, yes, they are not the dynasty team that they used to be. I don't think that they're as bad as what their record indicates. They had a good defense, and we went into Foxborough and we beat them. So, gave this team a lot of good confidence. So now we're heading into Seattle. But the thing is that Sam Howell was the second in passing yards, I think. So, he's put up big numbers. He's played well. He passes his passes are on target. He's starting to show, you're starting to see him show more leadership as well. And plus he's at that same time, he's an even keel. He doesn't get too nervous, too excited. You can tell that he trusts the process, that when he makes mistakes, he doesn't get down on himself too much. He's like, I got to go in there and I've got to work on this. And he does. He goes in there, he works on it. The only time that I could really tell that Sam Howell looked like he really got down on himself was, I believe it was the Buffalo game. The game where we just looked like we had no chance whatsoever. And it was a rough game for Sam Howell. After that, it looked like he corrected things, came out, played much better. And, that is the sign of somebody who, is not just a backup player, a sign of a guy who wants to start, but not just start in the league, and be like a guy who's, I'm going to start for you for maybe like a year or so, then move on and, kind of be one of what I call a spare quarterback, right? Journeyman quarterback who, he can be good as a starter for a little bit, but he's never going to be your franchise guy. A lot of people, it's weird. I'm still seeing people on social media that just won't give it up. That just look at him as if, no, he's not the guy. He is a glorified backup. And I'm like, what in the world? What more do you have to see out of this kid? He has started 9 games, and you're calling him glorified backup. You've seen enough to say he is not a starter. That is ridiculous. If you guys were in charge and we went back to the late 80s, the very tail end of the 80s when Mark Rippon came in, you guys would have never started Mark Rippon. Now, Mark Rippon never, people would argue Mark Rippon was never a true franchise quarterback because he didn't last very long in Washington. But he did get us the Super Bowl. He was a Super Bowl MVP, and he had that one outstanding year as a quarterback. But you guys would have never let Mark Rippon see the field after 1989. You wouldn't. You probably wouldn't have even let him be a quarterback in the NFL after 1989. That's just it. Same way Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman was horrible at the beginning of his career. He was terrible. As a matter of fact, I love the fact that Washington was going to play Dallas with Troy Aikman. I was like, oh, they're starting Troy Aikman. Great. Put this in as a W. Because Troy Aikman was terrible. And I really thought that, oh man, Dallas is just going to continue to be Dallas. They're just going to continue to be awful. They're never going to get it right as a quarterback. And then look what happened. He became their franchise quarterback. They had the Super Bowl dynasty in the 90s. It takes patience. You tend to veer off and you look at a few quarterbacks in the league who take off right away. Patrick Mahomes, sat out his rookie season, came in the next year playing real well. But, you look at some of these guys. I mean, even look at like Josh Allen right now. I mean, yeah, the Bills look like they were Super Bowl contenders. Now they've kind of cooled off. Now they're struggling to even see if they're even going to make the playoffs. You have to look at the whole thing, folks. You have some quarterbacks who start off their first couple of seasons in the league, and you're like, man, they're going to be just franchise guys. And they're going to be Hall of Famers. And then all of a sudden, their careers just kind of get put on ice, either through injury or just change of coaching, or just the simple fact that they reach their ceiling and people figure them out. And, they just start to decline after a few seasons for whatever reason. And so, you want to anoint these guys so early who come out and have early success. And yes, you are going to have some guys that, that are going to come out and are going to be great from the get-go. And, are going to be able to maintain that. And then you're going to have some who are going to start off lousy, and then they're going to figure it out. Maybe even by year 3, they figure it out. And then all of a sudden, they're amongst the top quarterbacks in the league. And then, you're going to have some that are just, they just never get it. High expectations from the get-go, but they just never get it. It's a crapshoot when it comes to quarterbacks. But I think when you look at guys like Sam Howell, you gotta look and see that he's got the intangibles, but he's also shown you, just from most part from the decision making. I know every now and then he gets very greedy and he does some things that's like, what in the world? But you got to go back and think. Rookie quarterback. I mean, yes, he's a rookie quarterback. Let's just say it like it is. This is the first full year. We have to treat him as rookie. And he's going to make those mistakes. But he makes fewer of those mistakes than he does making the right decisions. The thing is, he's quick about correcting those mistakes and moving on. And that's what I like about him. Now, the thing is, can we anoint him as a franchise quarterback? Too early. Definitely too early. But I think that he has shown enough to say, yes, he's going to be our starter in 2024. I think regardless of who the coaching staff is going to be. I think if there is going to be a new coaching staff in 2024, it would be ridiculous for them not to look at Sam Howell as a starter and not to try to build around him, and want to bring in their own guys. As a matter of fact, I would think that if a coaching staff, looked at Sam Howell and was like, no, I'm not even going to worry about him. I'm just want to bring in my own guys. I would be worried about that coaching staff already. So I'm like, you're not looking at this team. You're not really evaluating this team correctly. So in my opinion, from the Maniacs, Sam Howell's the man. It's like, Sam Howell's the man. Prove me wrong. Change my mind. What have you seen that is in so much overabundance of all the things that Sam Howell has done right that would say that Sam Howell is not the starter? Because there are even some guys out there who have said, hey, I think that he should be benched. And I'm like, and I did a video on this. Should Sam Howell be benched? Now, of course, it was a rhetorical question. Obviously the answer was no from the get-go, but, it's a little probably clickbaity title, but, it opened up the conversation as far as, should Sam Howell be benched? Excuse me, because, it looked like he was taking so many sacks. He was getting frustrated. The offense was starting to really struggle. How much of this was on Sam Howell? How much of this was on, poor coaching and all this stuff? Now that we have fast forward to this point, the coaching has cleaned up a lot of the stuff that they have done wrong. They have made some changes on the offensive line. They have done a lot of stuff that us fans could see and that we have asked for them to please fix, and they have hopefully fixed. We are seeing the fruits of that. And we're seeing a different Sam Howell, a better Sam Howell. So in my mind, he's the starter moving forward, no matter what the regime is going to be next year. And I think that leaps forward to the next point, and I've got to make this quick because I have got to go to work. But I'm going to leave you with this. Here's the question. What is Ron Rivera's fate moving forward? Here I'm going to throw out these scenarios. We're in November. Ron Rivera's record in November is 9-3. So if we only played football in November, we would be Super Bowl champions under Ron Rivera every single year, right? So, if we get on another win streak and somehow this team is able to get into the playoffs, and I've said before, at the beginning of the season, I said the only way that Ron Rivera is able to come back as a coach next year is if they get into the playoffs and they win a playoff game. And I stick by that. So if this happens just like that, the Commanders get on a win streak, they get into the playoffs, they win a playoff game, let's say the next playoff game, it's a battle. They lose by a couple of points, whatever. But, it was a great game. Nothing you can hang your head down low on. Is that enough to save Ron Rivera's job next year? Because then as an ownership, I'll have to look at that and be like, okay, well, you got a lot of young guys, a lot of good talent on the team. To change coaching at this point could be detrimental for those players' development. Maybe you offer Ron a chance to be elevated somewhere else within the organization. Maybe you elevate Eric Bieniemy as the head coach. I think you do need to make changes on the defensive side no matter what. But as far as head coach, maybe that's what you look at. If the culture is good, people, if overall the players respond great to Ron Rivera, maybe you look at, okay, but as far as position coaches, as far as defensive coordinator, we need to move on from that. We need to make major changes on that. It remains to be seen. A lot of us are done with Ron Rivera as far as the coach. And we also feel like even another win streak should not be enough, because we want championship level football. We don't want a team that starts off in the hole like every single year that Ron Rivera has had his team, and then having to dig themselves out of the hole every single year and then fall up short toward the end of the season. And because it's excuse me, that came out of nowhere, because honestly, that's what seems to happen every single year. And the problem is that it comes down to one or two games. So last year was the Cleveland game, and wrong decision by coaching to start Carson Wentz when Taylor Heineke was the hot hand. Could have been in the playoffs last year. We could have had a different conversation this year. Probably would have been a little bit easier on Ron. But with all that being said, folks, I'm going to end this. I hope you guys have a great Thursday. Hey, it's going to be like 80 degrees down here in North Carolina. 80 degrees. I don't know about you, but I like 80 degrees during the summertime when I can head down to the beach. But when it comes to fall, I like it to be more like in the 50s and 60s. I like it to actually be fall weather, because I think for my cold and stuff like that, I think I need the cold to kind of kill some of these germs and stuff. So that's what I need, folks. I hope you all have a great day. Please support this channel. You can support this channel by subscribing. Make sure you have subscribed to this channel. When you do, make sure you have the notifications checked, because YouTube will not let you know that I come out with a video unless you have those notifications checked. So just check mark that. We will also be coming out with channel memberships. We have that now. You can hit join. It's like $2.99 a month. And I think what I may do is hit up the community tab and just ask, hey, what would you like to have in memberships? And because I want to be able to serve you guys, as well as I hope that memberships will those are designed to really help grow the channel and to bring more quality and content to you guys. Because I love doing this. I'll be honest with you, I'm not making any money off of this. So, but this is all about the love of my favorite team, and I love talking about them. And but I also want to grow the channel as well. It would be nice to make a living off of this, but at least I'm blessed enough to be able to have other ways. So that being said, folks, God bless all of you guys. Have a blessed day, and I will see you all in the next one. Go Washington Commanders, and take care.